Greetings, this is Al Burrell with a quick custom map that I created called Time Bomb. Now this map was inspired by Captain Sparklez. He did a video on YouTube the other day which talked about properties of redstone and traps. So this map is actually a survival map where the point is to survive in the wilderness while visiting this house every so often to keep a timer going. Yes, that's right. There is a timer attached to TNT in this house, and if you don't add time to it every so often, it will explode. But the purpose of this video is just to show you how I've implemented some of the things that I noticed on Captain Sparklez' video, and to thank him. Also to inspire other map creators to use some of these effects. So there are seven different triggers in this map, and each one of these triggers will set off explosions. So the first one I'm going to show you is what happens if you right click on the jukebox. The record ejects. And the house explodes. Right, so the next one I wanted to show you was the bed. Now unfortunately you can see the water behind the bed, but basically once it becomes nighttime, if you come in here and are tempted to use the bed, you may be wondering how this is working, or you may have already figured it out. Basically, behind each of the triggered items, or trigger items, is a water flow which is moving in one direction into a pit. Therefore, it is not moving into the pit in the opposite direction due to a bug or perhaps something Mojang put in on purpose. I'm not entirely sure. And this block, or the block adjacent to the water, is in a particular state. Anytime that that block changes its state, the water block recalculates and realizes, oh, I'm supposed to flow in this opposite direction. Which, in this map, it then flows in that direction, falls to the floor. The water washes away some redstone from an inverter that's actually keeping the bomb in a stable state. And since the bomb and the redstone is no longer stable, it flicks to the on position, which I'll show you in a bit, and a series of chain reactions occurs. So this can be triggered by a door. And if you saw the water go off to this direction here, it went into the basement. Began the chain reaction again. And as someone pointed out on the forums, it is the 4th of July in America, so all these fireworks are somewhat appropriate. So this time I'll show you another item that can be used as a state change trigger, and that is the cake. Now actually in this case, you can't actually eat cake unless... So I've had to damage myself. And I've eaten some cake. That is one spicy cake. Alright, so now for the pièce de résistance of this map. The real survival part is the furnace. Now you see that the furnace is in an on state, and when you start the map it's cooking saplings, or it's using saplings as a fuel to cook cactus into cactus green. Now at any point, if we run out of saplings or fuel, if we run out of raw material, or if the output material gets full, the furnace will actually shut itself off. And what happens when the furnace shuts itself off? Well, you guessed it, the house explodes. So in this manner, when you start the map, you've got roughly 4 to 4.5 minutes on this timer. And in survival mode, you run around out in the world and fight creatures and do whatever it is you need to do to get coal or other items, and keep coming back into here to keep the furnace alive. I'm going to go ahead and take some saplings out just so you can see what happens when the fire goes out. I bet you can guess exactly what's going to happen. Yep. Alright, so that was the map with the explosions, and now what I'm going to do is use my single player commands and my world edit mod to show you exactly how how this works behind the scenes. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the majority of the house, and I'm going to expand my selection down. Oh, let's do overkill and expand it up. And I'm going to replace the water with something that won't blow up. So let's replace it with pink wool. And let's replace the TNT with orange wool. Now hopefully that actually worked. And then I'm going to go ahead and replace the half blocks with air. And I'm going to replace the full wooden blocks with air. And I'm going to replace the double half blocks with air. So you see there was some TNT hidden in the attic, some TNT hidden in the walls to make the explosion bigger, and some TNT scattered throughout the basement. Now, you do not have to be a redstone guru to build this. In fact, watch Captain Sparklez' video to see exactly how to build the water trap. But I'll just show you from the furnace perspective. Here's the furnace on this block here. And by the way, this was built without single-player commands in about 4 hours, so this was really easy to set up once I had the idea firmly in mind. So the furnace block actually had water behind it, and the water was pouring down into a hole over on this side, but was not pouring down into this hole because of the glitch. And then the cake is just the opposite. So the cake is behind this block here. Here's the cake. I'm going to fly up. And the water was flowing this way into a small hole. And it was not flowing this way. There we go. Sorry about that. So once the cake changes state or the furnace changes state, the water on one side or the other will flow down into this hole, and it will break this redstone wire here. Now the redstone wire is connected to an on switch and then a redstone repeater, which has TNT in the middle. So all four, if any of those items were touched, they would ignite this central TNT and then start a chain reaction. I did have another one over here on a cellar door that I didn't show you, but I think you get the hint. The other thing that I had down here, which I just realized I replaced, was surrounding each of these pathways was a set of wooden half blocks, just to make sure that the water was only directed to break the redstone and didn't surround the TNT. If water surrounds TNT, it absorbs a lot of the blast, and so then you wouldn't get the effect that we were looking for. So that's it. I wanted to give you a quick idea of what I'm going to go ahead and do undo, which will start putting the pieces back. In fact, there's the wooden troughs, and there's the TNT setup, and you can see the central block here as well. So that's it. That's my map. It's somewhat fun to play. It's very basic. I think if you get the main theme of the fact that there are some traps that you shouldn't touch, and then the fact that there is a timer ticking down, this is something that other adventure map makers can use in all sorts of ways. I've already got a couple ideas of how I'm going to use this. There may be one or two other blocks that also have a state change that will trigger, but I found some blocks do not. So chests do not seem to trigger water, which I was really hoping they would. That would have been cool, to trigger something when you pull an item out of a chest or place an item in. And I will let you experiment with the rest on your own. Again, thanks to Captain Sparklez for the idea, and you can see I've capitalized on that idea, and I hope you enjoy.